Hello everyone, I'm Paul and today we're solving problem 2566, maximum difference by remapping a digit. This one is easy and here I will show you my thought process step by step, so keep watching. This is a long description, but basically we are given a number such as this one and we can do the following operation here. We can choose one digit, so for example let's say we choose 1, and we can replace every occurrence of 1 with any other digit. So let's say we replace 1 with 3. So here we replace every 1 with a 3. And by doing this operation we need to get the maximum possible number. And we need to do this operation again to get the minimum possible number. So in this case we get the maximum if we replace the 1s with 9s. So the maximum is 9, 9, 8, 9, 9. And we can get the minimum by replacing every 1 with a 0. So this is the minimum, meaning 8, 9, 0. And finally for the result, we need to do maximum minus minimum, which in this case is 9, 9, 0, 0, 9. So we return this in this case. And now the question is, how can we get these numbers? Meaning which digit should we replace here? Because we can replace 1s, we can replace 8, or we can replace 9. These are our three possibilities. And if we choose to replace the 8, we won't get the maximum number. If we choose to replace 9, we won't get the maximum number. We need to replace 1s, and specifically we need to replace 1s with 9s. So we have our first observation here. For the maximum, we always need to replace every occurrence of the selected digit with a 9. And for the minimum, we need to replace every occurrence of the selected digit with a 0. That's how we can get the minimum value. And now remember we have three unique digits here. We have 3 1s, we have 1 8, and we have 1 9. And the question is, should we replace this with a 9? Should we replace the 8 with a 9? Or should we keep this as it is? The answer is we should replace this with a 9. And how do we know this? Well, we will iterate this from left to right until we find the first digit which is not a 9. And that is the selected digit. So in this case we have a 1 here. So our selected digit is a 1. So we will replace every 1 with a 9. We replace this with a 9, this with a 9, this with a 9, and that's how we get 9, 9, 8, 9, 9. And for the minimum, we get the first digit that's not a 0, meaning the first digit of the number, because we never get a number with a 0 in the start. So we replace every 1 with a 0 in this case, and that's how we get 890. Finally, we do this minus this, meaning 99899 minus 890, and this equals to the result 99009. Let's go with another example just to make this clear. Let's say we get this number and we are trying to find the maximum number. So we are checking if we can replace one digit here to get a bigger number than 90. And we will do the same as before. We will iterate this from left to right and we will check which digit is not a 9. So the first digit that's not a 9 is this one, 0. So we replace this digit, which is the selected digit, with a 9. So here the maximum is 99. And similarly, for the minimum, we are iterating this from left to right, and we are trying to find the first digit that's not 0. And the first digit that's not 0 here is the 9. So we replace this with a 0, and now the minimum is 0. And for the result, 99 minus 0 is 99. So we return this. For the final example, let's say we're given the number 99. we are trying to find the maximum number we can build first. So we iterate this from left to right, and we are trying to find a number that's not a 9. And we start here, we have a 9, here we have another 9. So we didn't find any number that's not a 9. This means we keep this number for the maximum. And for the minimum, we are trying to find the first digit that's not 0. So we start here from left to right, and the first digit is 9. So we can replace every 9 in this number with a 0. And that's how we get a minimum of 0. And the result for this is also 99 minus 0, meaning 99. Time and space for this approach will be big O of n. So now let's go with the code, and hopefully you will get the idea. There are many ways to do this. You can use the replace function in Python, or you can work with arrays. Here I will work with arrays so you can see step by step what's happening. So array equals, here we'll take the number, we'll transform this into a string, and we will transform this into a list. So now we have the array, n equals length of this array. The maximum value is initially empty, and the minimum will always be the first character in the array. And now for I in range n, if array at I is different from 9, now we have our maximum. Maximum equals array at I, and we break this loop. And now we are building the maximum and the minimum numbers for the result. And we will store this in arrays also. So maximum array equals a deep copy of the array. We can make a copy like this. And minimum array equals a copy of the array also. And now for I in range n, if maximum array at I equals to the selected maximum digit, in this case we need to replace maximum array at I with a 9. And similarly, if minimum array at I equals the minimum selected digit, in this case we replace minimum array at I with a 0. And finally we need to return the difference between these two numbers. So we need to transform this into numbers. And to do this we can use the join function in Python. Here we have the maximum array, and now we have the string, and we need to transform this into an integer like this, and we will do the same for the other array. So int join, and this is what we return. So we are returning the maximum number minus the minimum number. So now let's submit this and see if it works. As you can see, this works and it's very efficient. So if you found this useful, please drop a like, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.